guess I love our intro. I think it's so upbeat and fun. It's good times. Anyway, welcome everybody back to another episode of the Cyber Queens podcast live. Thank you so much for joining us today on this Friday. First episode on our new day at our same time. Woohoo! It's Friday.
Yeah.
It's good times. We are, of course, as always, your hosts, Meryl, Amber, and Erica. I'm Meryl, resident offensive expert and ethical hacker.
I'm Amber DeVilbus. I am an account director.
And I am Erica Eakins, your technical sales rep who's soon to be a CEO. Hey, hey.
Ooh. Announcement on this episode. Dang.
Yes.
Very exciting.
Of a cyber security something firm that I cannot tell you about yet.
Okay. Big announcement. Half a secret still, but we dropped that. And as always, all of us are freaks in the sheets. Okay. So topic of today's episode. RSA 2023. We know it's been all up in your feeds the last 2 weeks. Last week it was happening. This week everybody's been talking about it nonstop. RSA here, RSA there. You get some RSA and you get some RSA, and I hope you all feel like you are at RSA by now. So we swear this is the last time we'll talk about it. We're just going to give our 2 Bitcoin on the things that we saw and the things that we know and some of the things that we feel about it, and then we will leave it until next year, we promise. So sadly, not all of us got to attend. I was the only one who got to go. It was my first one. It was a very eye-opening experience to see the cyber marketing world side of things as someone who attends mostly HackerCons. It was very interesting and enlightening. What about you guys? Have you guys ever attended RSA? Have you ever wanted to?
I have, and I want to hear about your experience before I, pepper over it with mine. But, we all know that I have. So, Erica, I actually don't know if you have. Have you gone to RSA?
Yes, I went to RSA in the beginning of my career in 2012, 2013, and 2014, and I'll never go back.
Oh, why? I want to hear that tea. Why
not? Because it's a bunch of fluffery that customers hate, and they only go because they have to go. Some of them like to go or because they're job hunting, and it's just all the vendors showcasing, and it's a big waste of money, in my opinion. No offense to RSA, but it's so expensive. It's in San Francisco, one of the most expensive cities, and all of the vendors come out with their new and what's coming and all this stuff, and it's something different every year. So it's like we go from one thing to another every year, and we confuse our customers. I don't like it.
I think you're referring to Gartner on that one. I'm kidding. No
shade at specific vendors. We swear to God.
They're like the king of all of them. They're like the wranglers.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people did make references to their Gartner. They're like, Gartner would say that we are, we're always in like the top 1, 2, or 3 of the quadrant or whatever. So a lot of people do rely apparently on what Gartner says about them to propel their messaging.
Which is pay for play, by the way.
Oh, is it?
Yes. Yeah, there's like, it's always good to be in good standing with them for sure.
It is.
But there are other ones too that don't, it's not necessarily as much of a pay to play kind of thing. Like Forrester has some where they actually do a lot of the deep dive into the tech to see how it actually, from a technical perspective, where it hits and where it doesn't kind of thing. But yeah, dude, Gartner vendors, that's like their shield, right? They're like, hey, we're coming in. We've got, we're in the top right of the quadrant. And it's kind of like, gotcha. It's like, let's look under the hood, but
it's great. Gartner is great. I'm not knocking them. So, this is my own opinion. I'm putting the disclaimer, but working for the vendors for a very long time in startups, it is pay for play. Customers know that, but it is relevant. Very, very relevant.
Yeah. Good. Well, as I say, so my impressions, first of all, I would like to say that if RSA would like to make themselves more accessible, which I think only serves more cyber security professionals and the companies who want to showcase there, they should consider moving cities, because having it on a coast instead of in the middle of the country means a lot of people got to fly all the way over to get here. And like, it is an expensive city. It's like one of the top 3 most expensive cities in the nation, up there with like LA and New York. And like, it makes it very inaccessible to a lot of companies. So you're kind of saying like, basically, unless you can pay to be here, like you're one of the big guys, then like you and your little booth and your tiny team, like can't really afford to be here, which is unfortunate. I really would like to see it be more accessible in the future. So I will just say that, but I was walking the floor and I was like, some of them put some engineering behind their booth.
They do.
Gravity defying displays and things. And I'm like, this is insane. insane. This
Like I'm assuming it's at the same. Where was it, at that big like kind of convention center? I think they do
yeah,
it the same place every year. I walked in and I was like, this
middle.
place is massive. I can't even believe this is a
Yeah.
place that like exists here because the city's so tightly knit. You know what I mean? Yeah, but I think like that was my favorite part about it, honestly, because I'm a, like we all know here, marketing at heart. Okay, don't tell my sales manager that, but you know what I mean? When I went in, I was like, oh my gosh, like this is amazing. And especially for like Teach Kids Tech, for the stuff we do. I'm like, how do we get like the coolest, most interactive, like, booth there is, right? All the bells, all the whistles, like the smoke machines. No. But yeah, I think it's awesome. I had a different experience in Erica because I only had to go once, right? I think it's like if you went to Vegas for like 6 days compared to one, right? Like one person's gonna have a much better time, I feel like, and that would be me. So,
No.
but I also got to, I treated it like Comic-Con, guys. I went as a superhero, for God's sake. So, it was a fun time for me. But it's definitely, I don't know. I've asked customers about it. So like in Colorado, and Erica knows this, like not very many customers over the last 2 years have chosen to go. And I don't know, maybe we need to do some more diving. We need to do some Danny level research on this, guys, to figure out why customers are or are not going anymore. Yeah.
Well, here's the other thing about RSA that I'm sick of hearing.
Mm-hmm.
I work for a company, and we blew all of our marketing budget on RSA and Black Hat. Sorry, you can't do regional events, and I'm in sales. Like, what? You blew all of your money because you want to spend $100,000 on a cool booth? Sorry, RSA and companies need to get their crap together, in my opinion.
But here's the thing, and I'm going to tie that in what you just said to also what Meryl said, right? And what we were talking about earlier. It's almost like RSA is like literally a pay to play scenario. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because here's what I noticed about this. There were some vendors that we've gone up against in the past, and I'm like, are you kidding me? This is the most dated technology I've ever seen, and they have front and center booth. You know what I mean? I'm like,
exactly.
So at that point though, here's what I'm thinking. I go into like the psyche of my clients and say, what are my clients' impressions going to be like? Wow, this company's doing so well that they can afford this kind of booth. Like that means they're selling a lot, which means their product works. It's kind of like this whole thing where you're almost like, it's marketing one-on-one, right? So whoever's bigger and better and more well-known and more in front of you, that's who you're going to naturally go, oh, I need email security. I'm going to go with this, right? So
yep. No,
that's
right.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. There were a number of new companies that I've never heard of. And I mean, I always say I'm learning new things every day, but like there were literally dozens of companies with like the 40 by 40s and 80 by 80s that I had never heard of. And I'm like, wow, like, are these players I should know about? Are these products I should have heard about by now? Like I feel behind the curve now. And I'm looking for all my usual suspects, like the companies that I know and love, like Sneak and people like that. And they're kind of like often like big booths still, but like in the back. And I'm like, oh, there they are. There's like, there's the vendors I know and love. But it was interesting. It was an interesting foray.
You pay more to be
the
front.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you do. Because you're right in the heart of foot traffic. I know. But it was interesting. And it was interesting to see this, like the things people were offering at their booths as well. Like some people went purely entertainment. Some people went educational. Some people went like, it's just pleasant to be here. So you want to be here longer. Some people had really dope swag. Some people had idiotic swag. So
yeah, I love the
swag.
Did
they have the DeLorean? Did they have the DeLorean there this time?
They did not have the DeLorean, but Sentinel One had a Formula One car they brought out for I have no idea what reason. Like I don't know.
They do Formula One events. They do a lot of Formula One events and like Aston Martin events, and their booth was freaking cool. I saw it online and I was like, whoa.
It was a cool booth. I'm not gonna lie.
It was cool, but yeah, they do Formula One like customer events, and they have like I don't know if it's a partnership or something like that, but yeah.
You know what question I have? I want to know legitimately if companies are blowing half of their budgets on RSA and Black Hat and big shows like this every year, what actual like point back in revenue do you have for those efforts? Because like for me, it was, like I would really like that coffee mug. Like I really love, your product. I just want to drink out of your mug sometimes on my podcast. Like, cool, can I have a badge scan? I'm like, I don't really have a need for your product at this time, or we already use it. I'm like, we already use it. We're already your customer. That's fine. I need a badge scan though to give you the swag. And I'm like, this is so non-value added because all of you want to scan my badge for a bottle of water or for a t-shirt or whatever, which is a fine strategy, I guess. If the only thing you're tracking is how many badge scans you got, you're all going to follow up with me after the con, I know, and want to pitch me a demo. And I'm going to say, we're already customers, or I'm going to say, no thanks. And I'm happy sending the no thanks email. But like, how much value add was that? Like,
Dude,
They're
it's
non-value
all
added
about
badge scans.
it's all about pipeline. Erica can tell you all about this one.
Oh,
I'm
hold
not
on.
going to be a customer. Or I'm already a
But-
customer.
But you
It's like,
never know.
let me-
It's more
you
about
didn't
like at
qualify
bat.
me.
Dude, it's like
No.
it's like a guy at a bar. Okay, he's gonna shotgun out everything. He's like, okay, these 5, right? One of them is bound to say yes. So I feel like it literally is like a numbers game. And Erica can dive into this more as her, CRO self. But I'm telling you, right now, dude, it's like pipeline. It's like,
Like,
what kind of leads do you have? What kind of,
There's another chick
Hold
over
on.
there. I'll just go
Hold
over
on.
there.
Right.
Maria is right. Maria Graham, you don't have ROI from RSA. So what happens is they scan badges, people register, the vendors get the lists, and marketing people, they do what they got to do, and then they put it for all of the sales team at the vendor and like the resellers, and they say, go get these customers and follow up. They were at RSA, they were interested. And then I'm getting screamed at because I'm not finding leads because they're bogus emails and Gmail accounts and, students and people that are like a janitor. And it's like, okay, here's your RSA follow-ups. You should have a ton of meetings because we had a ton of traction at the booth. You really don't get it every year. It's the same thing. And then the sales team is in hot water every year because management's like, oh, marketing did all this stuff and we did all these things. Here's your leads. And it's not. There's you don't get a high ROI from it sometimes, depending on the company. Maybe it's like a cool new technology, or if you're like a Palo Alto who's just elephant or the 800-pound gorilla in the room. It's one of the hardest things to pull ROI from and pull leads from.
I think it's like literally not even about, I feel like it's not about leads. Like, I feel like that's what we're told. Like, oh, well, we're going to have this huge list of follow-ups from this, right? But they already know, right? I think it really does point back. It's like marketing's biggest event of the year, right? So it's like eyeballs. Yeah. It's literally that like continuing awareness of, hey, we exist and we're here and we're big and, you should be working with us kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's I feel like build pipeline, but it doesn't always happen that way. That's why, like when I go to Black Hat, I walk around the lobby because I find my customers there or I meet them there. And like for a salesperson,
stalking your customers.
For a salesperson to go to RSA, they want you to set up at least 5 meetings to speak with the executives, and customers will do that. But at the same time, they have so much stuff to see. It's just super impossible.
Yeah, you have to pick, like I had to pick which booths I wanted to spend time at very intelligently.
Yeah.
A lot of time it was, can I converge with you here? Because we both wanted to be here anyway. But I was like a non-value added badge scan for most of these people. And I'm like, if it helps your numbers or makes you look better to scan my badge, fine. They're like, hey, can I scan you? I'm like, your coworker literally just scanned me. Like, that's okay, we'll just do it again. I'm like, you're gonna have so many redundant badge scans. I don't see the value. I don't see the point. To me, it would be way more effective just to get to know me and get to know my needs, especially because I'm an engineer. I'm an engineer walking around the sales floor, right? And I'm like, I might actually have some purchasing power at some point. I know what solutions I need and what solutions I don't need. But programs are always growing and changing. But like nobody wanted to get to know my needs. They always want to scan my badge and send me along. I'm like, you don't even want to talk to me? They're like, no.
Numbers.
I'm like, you can give me the pitch. They're like, oh, okay, well, if you look at our sign, this person is the expert. They will talk to you. And I'm like, okay.
And they will talk to you.
Maria, you're my homie too. We are homies because we're on the same wavelength. It's just, she was there. We should bring her in right
she was there. She was there. She was there. She was all up in RSA's business. It was amazing.
Yeah. I was going to ask, so like when you were there, right? Because when I was there, I was in sales. So a lot different of an experience than you would be as a customer, Meryl. So when you were, walking the expo floor and everything, and you had interest in a technology, like how were you evaluating the effectiveness of that? Like how, you know what I mean? Like how the applicability of of that product that you were looking at can actually help you. Like, were you asking for demos? Were you just kind of casually walking by? I know you said that sometimes you asked and sometimes you didn't, but.
Well, yeah, sometimes because it's like companies I've never heard of, right? Like Pantera, like I'm like, I have never heard of you. I don't know what you do. Someone give it to me. Like I'm here, give it to me. I'll take it. And, it was the kind of thing where the first thing I look for is the impact. Like I want to know what problem it is you solve. I don't want to know what it is you do. We provide real-time monitoring. We rope in all your endpoints. We give you complete control over your insider threat. I'm like, you have just given me a whole lot of non-value added marketing to speak. You're not actually telling me what you do or like what hole you fill or what problem you solve. I'm like, so I always liked it when they responded with a question like, okay, well, before I do that, let me ask you, do you blah, blah, blah? Do you have blah, blah, blah? Or do you use X, Y, or Z solution? And I'd be like, yes. or no, I don't. They're like, okay,
Mhm.
this is how we complement, this is how we replace,
Right.
or this is how we address the problem those things would have addressed. And I'm like, okay, you just put that in a context for me that makes sense. I see now where in the growth of my program, I have an applicability for that, 6 months from now or a year from now, or like, we don't need that yet, but I think some people might. And if I ever get an opinion, I will say, I would like to demo this thing for that need because I think it can help. And then at that point, we'll do a POC and stuff like that. But I look for that and I look for the impact. Can you tell me what you do and how you do it and not just point out the features? Like if I'm shopping for a wedding dress, don't be like, and I'm like, why should I wear that dress? Oh, yes, because this is a wedding dress and it has beading and it has lace, which everybody's into right now. I'm like, that doesn't tell me, it's an A-line. It'll really complement your figure. Right. It's lightweight and you're getting married on the beach. Like, you're not telling me how it addresses my problem. You're just telling me what it is, which is not helpful.
Yeah, because there's like three different pillars, right? So there's like, there's initially going to be things like your use cases and there's going to be things like business drivers, but a lot of the time people just lead with features. And again, marketing mindset here, right? But I'm telling you, like those booths should absolutely, like you should just walk by and know, okay, that's what they do as from a feature point, right? Like, hey, we do this very clearly, right? But then the people should be there to talk about the use cases, which tie into the business drivers ultimately. And that's literally, that's our job, right? Like Erica and I, and it used to be really my job when I was an SE. Like that was my only job, was to explain, here's the actual stuff that matters to you specifically, not just in general, but like, let's have a conversation and open that up. And now we do that as reps too, right? And so I'm trying to normalize that more often. But yeah, I think just marketing in general, like I know there's a lot of, especially now that I am out of VAR and I have been for some time, it's like all of these vendors, I go into these meetings and I'm like, okay, how do I get you guys to just really like simplify in like 3 bullet points? And when I say bullet points, I mean like 2 words each, right? So like 6 words total. How do you summarize this for somebody? If you're like, hey, we do this and this and this, right? So it's like, so it sticks with them and they're like, oh, that's what's different. Like differentiators really should drive your marketing because everybody's doing somewhat of the same flavor of technology now. And it's like, what thing do you specifically solve better than absolutely anybody without also tearing down your competition?
Do you know why they don't do that? Why it's not that simple? Because vendors and startups are having a problem getting their messaging across like that because they want to suck you into their value-added selling or med pick or all this stuff and processes in the sales cycle to get you to the demo, to get you to proof of value. They will not give you your differentiators because they want to info vomit everything, even though they say they don't want to do that. And as a salesperson on the vendor startup side, I can't just go in and be like, yep, this is what we do in three bullet points, because I have to say all these other things and hit all these points because I've been trained on value selling and the company spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on it. And if I don't do this whole stupid presentation that customers don't care about, I'm going to be talked to afterwards. Well, why didn't you say this? And why didn't you ask that? That's why they don't do it, because they have their own little processes, which, that's not, it's not a secret, but it's because they spend all this money and they have to like understand the pain points. I hate that word, but like the pain points and get all this data in, the first couple of meetings to move forward and then suck the customer in. You guys know I'm a huge advocate against the sale process because it's so broken and it's
so broken.
They're making it worse. RSA just is amazing because customers can go and see what's out there. And, obviously if you're not a RSA, you're not worth looking at. That's what a lot of companies say. And somebody else in the comments said that, like, companies like think if you're not there, you're not worth looking at, but they make it so hard, and that's our fault. They make it really, really hard for customers to evaluate technologies, and we have confused them for years, and now we're trying to unconfuse customers. That's where I think everything is right now.
And see, I think that's one more example, and I don't work in the sales world, but that's one more example of how you, the salespeople, would do it differently and better. And like the managers are so stuck in how it's always been done, and like, this is how it used to work. That might be how it used to work. That might have been effective back in the 80s or 90s, but that is no longer how it's effective. Like, sales is so broken that people like Danny Wolf can make an entire freaking living out of coaching you on how to fix it. Like, that's how bad it is. It's so bad. But you know what else really worked for me is when I would ask a question, because there was a point, I'm not going to say who, there was a point where I was like, okay, I'm here. Pitch me. I want to understand, because I don't understand what you do from the name. The name is not like Sysdig, oh, okay, obviously you're a logging type thing. It was not very evident. And I'm like, tell me what you do. And so literally no one literally no one could tell me what they do, or like the person who could wasn't available. He was already occupied. And I'm like, I'm going to walk away because no one here can tell me what you do. And I'm not learning anything by standing here. And that's sad. But something that I did really love is when people start with a use case. Like when people are immediately like, did you experience this? Or let me tell you, okay, one time I'm like, what do you do? What does your product do? Okay, we had a customer one time who blah, blah, blah. Do you have this turned on? Do you enable this? Do you track this? No. Okay, same thing. And they suffered this. And if they had this, we would have caught it at this point, or we would have detected this thing, or we would have informed at this data point. And we would have not stopped the problem or solved the problem, but we would have given them a better chance at least understanding their environment to maybe proactively look at that thing. And I'm like, okay,
You know what?
I understand.
You know what I want you to test at your next conference? I want you to say that you're a CISO and see how they treat you differently.
No,
Because I'm telling you right
Yeah.
now, security engineer, they will talk to you, but in the back of what you're not seeing in the background, they want to talk to director, VP, CISO, and security engineer. Yeah, you're important, but you're really not a decision maker. But a lot of times, management and marketing don't want to hear that you're the gatekeeper. A lot of the times, and you're gonna.
I feel like they're gonna out me, like meerkats. They're like CISO, guys. We got a CISO over here. CISO,
well,
CISO right here.
Because you're talking about how they were like kind of like, I feel like they were kind of like not interested in talking to you because of your title. Go and tell them you're a director or something. Just at one point, test it on your next conference.
I'll test it. I'll let you know. To be determined. I'll report back. So how would you guys do it differently? How would you guys approach if someone stopped and had no idea? If someone was a fellow salesperson, or if someone was like, yeah, I'm an architect or I'm an engineer, like, tell me what you do. Tell me why I should lean in. How would you two approach that?
I would have prepared, right? So I think I would do, in fact, let's go back a couple paragraphs ago, right? If we're doing the notes here. So I'm saying so this is why I think I ended up where I did, right? Like on the VAR side as a salesperson, right? Because I spent my time as an SE, and April, if she's listening, she knows, Erica knows, right? I was kind of like a rogue SE. I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that pitch. I'm not using that deck. I'm not doing these things. This is straight garbage. I'm just going to go right in, you know what I mean? I'm going to start asking questions. Because at the end of the day, like we can throw up whatever we want at them, but it's a good salesperson and a good SE, sales engineer or solutions architect, is going to ask questions more than they're going to talk, right? So it's like, we're going to ask questions and then we're going to wait. And it's going to be up to you at that point, right? But we're not going to make it awkward, but we're just going to
make it silent.
Yeah, we actually care. Weird, right? We actually care about your use cases and whether or not it's a good fit, because some of the best of us, and no offense, but I was a fantastic SE, okay? And I'm just saying, there's so many times, right? There's so many times where I would be like, yeah, this is not your solution. Do not buy from us because this is not what you need, right? And it's because I understood and took the time to understand the use cases and really the why at the end of the day. Not even just the use cases, like why is that a use case for you? At the end of the day, what's the biggest picture you can give me of where are you guys trying to go, right? And so I think when we talk about this stuff and we have marketing teams, again, you know me, I'm all about, what is that word? My marketing expert over here, Meryl, where it's like, it's not guerrilla marketing, but it's like just really in your face. It's kind of like what we did with Teach Kids Tech, where we said, technology is a human right? And even the people on our board, when we had our first TKT meeting, they were like, that's a little extreme. And I'm like, I need it to be extreme. I need people to go, hold on. What's this? You know what I mean? Because that right there, especially at a conference like that, where there's
like assertive marketing.
Yeah, absolutely. Like a million people walking by, like you better be able to say this without having to say it through a human, right? So first of all, I would have done that and I would have prepared. And I know that the one thing I did like last year when I was there, and I'm sure they did it again, tell me if I'm wrong, but they would have like an SE or somebody else give it's like almost like a mini TED talk, right? And they would talk about like how their product like solves for a very specific problem, right? So like Dragos and everything like that, they had, their OT and critical infrastructure. And it was a very specific use case. And people could like just walk up and sit, or that, you know what I mean? They could walk up and kind of listen from afar. It wasn't something where you had to like engage one-on-one with somebody. Because again, if you're an engineer, I know if this works for me, maybe not all, because I'm not as extroverted as Meryl, but I'm telling you, there were so many times where I wanted to hear it, but I was like, what if I get stuck talking to this person and I don't want to be at this booth anymore? Like, it's fine. I'll just Google it later. Right. And I think that's why those talks are so great, where you can like walk up and just listen. And that's
what Red Canary did. And I sat at Red Canary for cause they had like 2 to 3, they would cycle throughout the day. And I sat there for all 3 of them because it was nice to sit. And B, I was like interested in the information I was getting. I was like, this is applicable to my job. I'm going to take this threat intel. I'm going to take these things and I'm going to go directly give them back to my coworkers. So educating is always a great tack to have. But like I said, offering people water and a place to sit for a badge scan, I think is stupid. I think Human did a really cool thing. They had the most unique booth of the whole con. Want to know why? It was completely analog. It was completely non-tech. Human.
Okay.
Human, where Catherine Wang works.
Okay.
Yeah. They didn't do like a big like flashy lights and tech centric and like blue and white and all these things. They had a bookstore. It was like a straight comic book store with like shelves full of books, full of all these fantasy and sci-fi books and stuff like that. And it was like a place. It was a place where you could just come and sit and have a conversation or just be, and you didn't feel like you were on the sales floor. And I hung out there for like 45 minutes of my day, like an entire eighth of my day. I hung out there.
That's awesome. But what do they do?
Yeah. So Human, not that I work for Human and not that I speak for them. And if I butcher this, Catherine,
we are being judged.
Here we go. We are judged. This is what I learned at the Human. So they basically detect and stop bot activity, widely distributed bot activity. So from various use cases, if you've got, a botnet and someone's obviously amping up for a distributed denial of service, or they've got lots of people rapidly signing up for like dummy, like usernames, easy passwords, stuff like that, that's probably not good. So there was quite a few actually notable bot attacks that they've stopped that they published stories on, which were fantastic to read. And then another use case is in the business side, like if you've got a lot of, fake users, fraudulent users, like being signed up for by bots, making it look like you're more like you're more customer heavy than you are, stuff like that. They're really diluting your numbers. Like they're users who are signing up for basics and like not actually doing anything with their account, stuff like that. So it's like fraudulent bot users and then like bot net attacks. It's pretty cool, actually. That's why it's called Human.
But see, you walked away with exactly in your mind what they do, and it's still like a week later and you know what they do.
Yeah, and it's stuck
like you
have. And I enjoyed being there too. I enjoyed being around their people. I enjoyed being in their space. It was great.
It's like marketing 101 and sales 101. I guess sales kind of stole this from marketing, right? But at the end of the day, it's about how you make people feel. Right. So if people feel like they're it's whether they remember it because it's good or they remember it because it's bad, it all has a lasting impression. And if you can give that impression, hopefully good, then you've done your job. Right. So I love that. Yeah. I also love that it's not like a very obvious like synchronicity between the way that they portrayed that in person with like a bookstore and having everything be analog. Cause that's like a deep level psychological like connection between the two things. Right. Like, oh, Human because hey, I'm not a bot, but Human because, hey, like at the end of the day, this is like the only booth like this, right? And it shows like
it was.
It really is.
You could see it all the way across the expo. You could see it. And they actually did that because I guess Human was started, the first space their owner ever like rented out and like where he started the company was a little back room of a comic book store.
I love that.
So that's why they did that too. It like points back to their origin story. And I was like, are these real books? And I picked them up and they were. Like someone spent like $5,000 at Barnes and Noble to like stock this bookstore.
Was my book there? That's all that matters. I'm kidding.
Your book, we should have left your book.
I told them it should have been there. No, but it was good. It was good. Okay, so I want to ask. So the theme this year at RSA was Stronger Together. And I just want to ask you two. So I will tell you how they kind of manifested that, I guess. But hearing that the theme is Stronger Together, if you went to RSA and you're seeing RSA 2023, Stronger Together, what does that mean to you? And how does it tie back to cyber?
Erica, like you go.
You want me to go?
Erica wants to go.
It looks like you're like, oh man, I can't wait. So you go.
So first of all, I think of COVID, and that just makes me mad because we're in this together.
Cringe.
It's cringy. What that means to me is that the customers knows, or the vendors know that customers are, they're more vulnerable than ever. Nothing is stopping attacks, and we're just throwing fluff at them to tell them that we're going to help you. And basically we're in this together and we're going to try to help you, but we can't guarantee it. That's what I read from it, but we're going to try.
I mean, without being there, it's hard for me to guess around this, right? Like I'm so ill prepared for this question in particular, but I'm going to go ahead and take a guess. So there's been a lot of talks from the customers that we've experienced. I don't know, Erica, if you have, but at least I have, where it's like, we're kind of sick of everybody talking about how they're better than others, right? And it's like,
Yes.
it's almost like the vendors kind of get, or the customers kind of get in the middle of like this vendor war, right? Like, oh, well, are they doing this? Well, are they doing this? And it's like, guys, at the end of the day, we're all just trying to help the customer, right? So like, however we can do that, let's kind of work together.
Are you though?
I'm just, well,
Are you though?
Well, you guys are.
Like I
You
said,
guys are.
to be fair, I'm the only person on this call that can say that, okay? Because I am at Empire. So technically I am absolutely agnostic, but I'm telling you, like, I feel like there's been so much about, kind of like who's better than who, instead of being like, hey, let's all get better and like together, right? Like, let's get better. I want your product to be great. Of course I want mine to win, but at the end of the day, like, how can we kind of synchronize? And you'll see that a lot in the market, at least I do, where there's instead of having this whole like rip and replace, solution that everybody used to go to market with, it's kind of like, how can we augment what you already have today to make it better? That's what I would hope and guess. My other thought or niche was going to be kind of on the COVID side, like, hey, we're all back and we're all better together and whatever. But, Meryl, now it's time for you to shine all of your knowledge down upon
Let me
us.
just add something. It's what I said earlier, that the vendors, we've put the customers in the position that we're in because we were all about product sale, point solution, this, and now then they went to consolidate and, grow with what you have. And now it's like, okay, we've put these customers in this mess. Now we have to fix it. That's the way I see it. Go ahead, Meryl.
Disaster recovery.
Maybe they are. Maybe they're cyber marketing general is doing some incident response right now. They're like, retreat, pull back.
Right.
I would just say that because of the theme I saw in a lot of the talks, and the talks this year were so varied. They were, sometimes you see a lot of themes, like a lot of really heavy themes. And obviously AI this year was a very heavy theme. A lot of people were digging into like the ethics, like the development around AI and stuff like that. By the way, someone said it in the comments, if I see AI driven solution one more time on the freaking expo floor, I automatically just like lean out. Like, I don't know if you know what that means, but I don't believe you. But I mean, there was so much around like DevSecOps and purple teaming. I saw so many purple team talks this year, like 5 or 7, which is way more than I've ever seen at like a non-hackery purple team talk or like conference before. And to me, it was like really trying to speak to the diversity of things. Like, I think all of cyber has had a mindset shift into like the more we stand together and not like draw lines in the sand and not silo each other and divide ourselves from each other, the better we are. Because I don't know if anyone went over to Moscone West, but they had this board there with these strings, and the strings colors were denoted by how many years in cyber. So cyber was like less than 3 years, and purple was like 3 to 5 years, and like 20 plus year, all the way to 20 plus years. And then they had things like sci-fi nerd always sings along in the car, always wins at board games, like all these personality traits. And you're supposed to take your string and tie it. And we're supposed to start finding our commonalities. Lots of caffeine addicts in cyber, by the way. Caffeine addict was a big one. But I saw a lot of yellow strings. I saw so many yellow strings, which means people who just got into cyber or haven't been here that long, and like very few orange strings. So it was just kind of cool to see. Like, I think what it really means is like, it does take all types. It takes all levels of experience. It takes all types of backgrounds. It takes all types of approaches to problems and diversity of thought. I'm seeing a whole lot of diversity of thought themes lately. So to me, that was what I thought it meant. And I thought they did a really good job showing diversity of thought in the talks, giving you a wide range of things to attend as a CISO or as an engineer. Like, I got value as an engineer, and I think a lot of people got value in other verticals as well. So that's what I would say. I think they did a really good job with that personally.
It was your first RSA.
It was my first RSA. I was a little starstruck. But,
yeah,
I'm all optimistic. I'm just happy to be here, you guys.
Yeah.
But it was good. It was good in my opinion.
It is a good conference. RSA, I am not knocking you. It does serve its point, but I do think they need to change a little bit. Like we said, locations and whatnot, and not be so expensive.
Yeah.
One thing I will say is, if you're a vendor and I see you have paid a light up LED truck strictly to drive around the Moscone and like Mission area advertising your freaking product, I'm leaning out, because that is a waste. That is a waste on the environment. That is a waste of your dollars. I'm like, you're clearly doing so well and you've got so much money that you didn't even advertise inside the conference venue. You're advertising on the street, which is
those are the ones that are laying people off. They're laying
it was off. Cyber Reason that did that last year. Remember?
This year it was quite a few people, and I did not like that. I was like, what is the point of that? Just so we can see your messaging when we want to walk outside and get some sunshine? Leave it on the floor where it belongs. When I want to go find it, I'll go find it. And outside, leave me the heck alone. That's all I want.
So, but that, see, Okay, so that's like the thing though. Is so I agree with that. Although I will say those buses are already driving around, so it's not like they're adding to it. It's just that's just San Francisco.
I hate
But at
that.
the end of the day though, like see, it's another thing though. Like you remember, I remember it because that was such a big deal when I was there. Was that's when April was working at Cyber Reason, and she was like, "Yeah, we have so much." I was like, "Dude, it's so cool here. Like they have so much stuff." Apparently, I even saw them at the airport, right? Because just they're everywhere, right? And in
They're
that
everywhere.
mindset though, for some customers where they go to almost there's some customers there that will go to like get information fed to them, right? Like they're just like,
Mhm.
what do I need? Right. And they're kind of like,
Yeah.
Tell me.
who's wherever. Right. And so it's like from that mindset and perspective, I get it. Like it's not ideal, but it's like, it's kind of like if you're going to do that, it kind of shows. But then again, then look what happened, right? Later that year. So I guess it all depends. And yeah, it's like the bigger companies doing that, but they're also the ones doing the layoffs. So yeah, I agree.
All right,
Yeah.
last topic on the RSA conference topic. Best and worst swag. What in your guys' opinion is a really great piece of swag, makes you want to grab that swag, or has like stuck with your customers? And what is a totally waste of money? Please stop buying these and handing them out to us.
Can we
Piece of
also
swag.
like have one that we would suggest? Or should we keep that
Yeah,
secret
yeah.
first?
No, make a
Here's the thing.
suggestion.
Yeah, here's the thing I would say. So hoodies were everywhere. I love hoodies. I would rather have a hoodie over a shirt because hair dyeing shirts. That's cool, I guess. Sorry, guys. But also,
That's where they end up.
the one thing that I did talk to like men and women about, actually, Chris Roberts and I talked about this at the Armis one that was here in Colorado, was like, hey, you have people flying out here. There are some people that just pack really quickly and maybe they forget things. Sweatpants, okay? Can we please make this a normal thing? Like, if you're going to have the hoodie, have the sweatpants or vice versa. You know what I mean? Like, because there's a lot of folks that like, I've not seen one single pair, okay, at like any conference I've been to in the last 2 years. And I'm telling you, I'd wear those. I'd wear them right now on this call.
And I don't work at Zoom anymore, but I still have my Zoom sweatpants because they are so freaking comfy, and they're the only pair of sweatpants that I have. So I agree, sweatpants.
Yes.
Would be cool.
So I would say like little like travel or like rehab kits, like, a little, I've seen these before. They're one of my favorite, where it's like a little package and it has like a needle and thread. It has like a mouthwash, a small deodorant. It's like basically stuff that you might need throughout the day or forget. And it's got like band-aids and a nail file because sometimes women break their nails. And it's like these little like kits, and they come in this cute little bag. It's easy to stick in your pocket or your purse.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of my favorite ones that I've seen. But also Checkpoint. I went to a conference.
Oh, yeah.
This
The
just
CSA.
looks like this. Yeah, CSA. This looks like a bottle opener, but in it is a straw, and it has a cleaner for the straw. Because paper straws are horrible, and everybody's trying to get rid of plastic straws. But
yeah,
hygiene kits, Joseph. But yeah, this one's amazing. It comes with the little cleaner. It's a straw and it's a bottle opener. This is awesome. Checkpoint.
Yeah. I also liked the stuff, and it wasn't at RSA as much, or maybe it was, and I just, you can only go to so many hundreds of booths in a day. But I'm telling you, the stuff that we had at Armis, there were a lot of people that were giving out stuff for kids because they knew people were traveling in and they were spending time away from their families, and a lot of us have children, so it was kind of like, what's some cool swag? Like there were so many. What was it? I think I have one. Was it the Halloween event that we did with Lyft, the women in security one? I don't know. I don't think it was CrowdStrike. Maybe it was, but they had like a stuffed animal that they were giving out for the kids. And I was just like, that's so perfect, right? And it was
I have that in my garage. It was
like not like a little like McDonald's Happy Meal stuffed animal. It was like a nice like quality one that your kids could keep. And it was just, I don't know. I liked that a lot. So
yeah, that was the Halloween event with Lyft. By the way, it was just the cutest little stuffed animal. I took like 4 of them.
Yeah.
I would say the coolest piece of swag I saw at RSA, and I waited a half hour in line to get this, was customized water bottles.
Those are cool.
They took water bottles and they had artists there with permanent markers, and they were customizing like street graffiti style water bottles.
That's so
for
cool.
Anybody. But like, I'm like, this is gold, right? Because we are spending so much time in your booth, and no one was talking to me in line. Like they were like, badge scan, here you go, thank you. And I'm like, don't you want to talk to me? Like, I'm here, you have my undivided attention. I'm just gonna get on TikTok. Like, I'm there in line. You could get to me if you want to. I had to be like, hey, come here. Tell me what you do. I don't even know what API defense. What does that mean? Like, tell me what it is.
And that is cool. Well, another cool one is the reusable bag, because like in Colorado, we have to pay for plastic bags now, or you have to bring your own reusable bags, like the little drawstring bags or like the tote bags that you bring in to put groceries in. That's good for states that are, implementing a cost.
But make them smaller. Bags. No one needs an IKEA size bag all the time.
no, we're talking about just like a
Yeah. I saw a
regular
few of
size
those, and I was like, I have one. Like, I had a purple one. They were like, that's okay. They took it and put it in their orange one. They're like, carry my orange one. Like,
Yeah,
it was
because
like
then
a
you could
fight for the
carry- you
reusable
could-
bags.
You could carry around your swag in it. That's
Yeah.
just one of the
That's
best
why,
things.
and this is going to debut soon. Or none of us are going to expose this here, but we are going to have the best bags ever next year.
Ever.
Teach Kids
Yeah.
Tech. So
Teach Kids
just it's gonna be the only bag that you'll see.
You're going to be competing with us, and I will walk straight up to somebody and put my bag on their arm. I don't even care. So,
You're like,
I
here,
love
let me
that.
help you with that. Let me get you a
help you
bag
with
for your
that.
bag.
I love that.
I had a Neverfull with me, and it did pretty good. But eventually, I had to ask someone for a reusable bag. I think it was Armis or Terramine. I was like,
Yeah.
give me a bag. I need a bag. Give me one. Okay, well,
Perfect.
we are coming up to time here. This has been such a great episode. I hope it gave you a different perspective on RSA. You know, not so much of the distilled insights that we saw, but just kind of general things that we know or that we've heard or that we gained from it. Are you girls going to ever go back? You going to go back to RSA next year?
Yeah, I'm going as a Power Ranger next time. So
Perfect.
we're
I'll
getting
join you.
Evotech to build the suit now. No.
Yeah. I will be there hopefully next year. This year
Woo!
just did not work out, but yeah, I am gonna go. I don't
Yes.
hate
All
the
three.
conference, but
All three Cyber Queens will be
We'll
there.
make
We
it.
will not have a booth, but we will be
No.
walking around.
We might.
All right. We
Depends.
might.
Final.
Maybe we will. Maybe after Tech. Who knows? We'll see. I'm not going to man it though. We're not going to be manning it.
Yeah, no, we're going to be Power Rangers. It's
We're gonna be
fine.
Power Rangers.
They don't know
It's gonna
this
be
yet,
good.
audience, but this is what's happening.
It's gonna be great. Okay, well, this was the Cyber Queens view on the post RSA wrap up. This year's theme was Stronger Together. We hope you all know that we are stronger together. We had so many takeaways. I don't think we'll do final takeaways this time. Like there was.
I do
takeaways
want to
all-
say one thing.
Say one thing.
For people in Denver, check out Aspects Fitness. Kira Collins is the CEO. Even if you're not in Denver, she does virtual coaching and for ladies, hormonal and like competitions for bodybuilding. I'll link it in our post show notes, but check her out. She was, I think, the 2023 fitness model. And I met her in person and she's amazing. So if you guys are looking for a diet or, meal plan or just trying to get back on track, check them out.
And see, that is a perfect example of how making a friend out of somebody that will say nice things about you to 1,000 people rather
Right.
than just spamming them with a whatever. So Erica's a walking billboard now.
Walking
Beautiful.
billboard now.
We should always
Just like
talk about it.
Just like the buses. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. All right, beautiful.
Sponsors.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us. This has been another episode of Cyber Queens. We will see you same time, same day next week. We wish you all love, light, and success.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. I'm always late to that.
We're never going to get the bye, right? If we ever do, I will be so
I'll have to
thrilled.
start first.